Severe weather continues to be the most significant threat to Southwest Florida. Hurricane season begins June 1st and runs through November 30th. Besides hurricanes, wildfires, dangerous winds, flooding, and tornadoes all affect our area. Lee County recommends that every household have an all-hazards guide and a family emergency plan for reference if severe weather happens quickly. Remember to keep an eye on all storm watches and warnings. A watch is issued when the environment is favorable for severe weather, and a warning happens when severe weather is imminent. High winds can cause damage with little warning. Floodwater from excessive rainfall or storm surge can be life-threatening in a matter of minutes. It is always best to be prepared for all possibilities. Knowing your evacuation zone is critical when preparing for severe weather. Residents should check their evacuation zone every year. Zones are listed from A to E, with Zone A being the coastline. While you might not have been in a high-risk area last season, that could have changed this season. Once a storm watch is issued, local officials closely monitor the potential impact on the entire area. Updates will be broadcasted on local news outlets, alertlee.com, the Lee Prepares app, and county social media channels. Make sure to sign up for Alert Lee online and download the Lee Prepares app before the storm. Evacuation orders will be given when necessary and are considered mandatory. Residents choosing to stay once an evacuation has been ordered for their zone are risking their lives, and those of the responders tasked with assisting in the event of a rescue. You do not have to wait for an evacuation order. If you want to leave an area because you do not feel safe, you can do that anytime. The time to prepare for a disaster is before one occurs. Creating an emergency plan is crucial to you and your family's safety. Once you have your emergency plan, all households should have a disaster supply kit filled with essentials. Place important documents in a waterproof bag. This includes identification, insurance paperwork, a contact list of family members with phone numbers and addresses, medication lists, and other essential information. Remember to prepare your home once the supply kit and necessary documents have been collected. This includes putting up storm shutters and securing valuables inside and outside your home. Tie down boats, bring outdoor furniture inside or tie it down, and move important items off the floor. Take photos of your entire property inside and out before the storm for reference. This is also the time to fill up your vehicle's gas tank and any portable gas or propane tanks. Lastly, communicate your emergency plan to all family members in the household and out of the area. This will ensure that as many people know about your plans as possible, making it more likely that help can find you if communication becomes challenging. Deciding to stay or evacuate during a storm is always a difficult decision. Here are some factors to consider when thinking about sheltering at home. Homes built after the year 2000 and not located in an evacuation zone make the best at-home shelters. Mobile or manufactured homes should never be used as shelters. If you choose to shelter at home, be prepared with plenty of emergency supplies, including 5 to 7 days of food and 1 gallon of drinking water per person and pet daily. Have a 2-week supply of medications and baby and pet essentials. Using a NOAA weather radio during and after the storm is a great way to stay updated. Be sure your weather radio is tuned to the correct radio frequency. Anyone requiring the use of medical equipment to live should never shelter at home. Taking these precautions enables a residence to be a viable shelter in the event of severe weather. If an evacuation is called and sheltering at home is not a possibility, find a friend or relative to shelter with outside of the evacuation zone or other accommodations. If needed, emergency shelters will be made available as a last resort. Lee County shelters are located throughout the county, but not all shelters will open for every storm. Check the current shelter lists at www.leeeoc.com, the Lee Prepares app, or on county social media channels when a storm is approaching. If you do not have transportation to a shelter and cannot make it to a Lee Tran bus route, call 211 for assistance. Once an evacuation is called, all public bus stops become shelter shuttle stops. Public shelters are intended to be a fallback plan for those who are unable to evacuate or are unable to shelter at home. Only life-sustaining necessities are provided at public shelters. Drinking water and limited food options will be provided. Those intending to use a shelter are encouraged to bring their own supplies when possible. Cooking facilities are not offered in any shelter. Sometimes power and/or air conditioning are unavailable during the storm due to limited resources, so be prepared. Residents are asked to bring a 3-day supply of food, water, and sleeping necessities. Bringing your own food is especially important for those with dietary restrictions and/or allergies. Shelter residents are assigned an area to set up their belongings, but that area can be minimal, depending on space limitations, so only bring critical items. All shelters are ADA compliant, and requested accommodations will be made when possible. If you are electronically dependent for life safety medical devices, you should consider registering for a special needs shelter no less than 5 days before the storm is expected to impact the area. Household pets are welcome at all shelters. Residents are asked to always keep their pets on a leash or in a crate and always with their owners. Special needs shelters have a designated pet room where pets can be housed in crates when the owners cannot watch them. While public shelters are available to anyone, residents are encouraged to create an emergency plan that includes multiple sheltering options, including evacuating to a friend or family member's house in a safe area or leaving the area to a location that will not be impacted. Special needs shelters are available to those who require medical devices to sustain life. This includes oxygen tanks, ventilators, medication pumps, and other types of equipment that require electricity to operate. These shelters operate on an as-needed basis. All applications that require the use of this type of shelter are assessed individually. Applications are accepted at any time, but must be submitted no later than 5 days before a storm is set to impact the area. Space is limited. A caregiver or companion must accompany any residents attending a special needs shelter. All medications must be brought with the resident, including a printed list of all medications and their dosages. Additionally, printed contact information for family or friends, local or out of area, is recommended. After a storm, residents may feel overwhelmed. The best way to reduce post-storm anxiety is to prepare ahead of time. Some best practices include only going out on roadways when absolutely necessary. Be ready to stay in your home for up to 3 days after a storm. If your home is damaged and unsafe to live in, gather your necessary belongings and go to a public shelter. Shelters typically remain open after a storm has passed for this reason. If damage to your home is minimal, take photos before beginning repairs and keep all receipts for future reference. Report any damage immediately to your insurance company with detailed records of all repairs. These records will help support your insurance claim. Remember to use caution when assessing property damage. Dangers aren't always evident until it's too late. Clear walkways, driveways, and where safe, roadways of debris first. This will enable repair trucks and emergency vehicles to access your area when necessary. Debris can be on top of downed power lines or dangerous wildlife, and floodwaters can be contaminated with hazardous chemicals or waste. Only clear what you are confident is safe. Never let children play in standing water or around debris piles. If you are concerned about any danger, wait and seek the help of a professional. While working to clean up after a storm, remember the dangers to your health. Most homes will be without power, and pools can be contaminated with pollutants, making it challenging to find places to rest and cool down. Heat stroke is a danger to those working to clear storm damage. Make sure to hydrate with water or sports drinks regularly. Wear breathable clothing and always wear sun protection. Generators are a great tool to keep refrigerators running or cell phones charged. When using a generator after a storm, ensure it is set up correctly. Position your generator 15 to 20 feet from home. Do not run generators in a garage or enclosed space or close to an air conditioning unit. If you are worried about theft, chain your generator to your home. Residents should plan to have at least 3 days of fuel and ensure the generator is cool before refueling it. In the days after a storm, keep a close eye on food and water supplies. Restock when supplies are 24 hours from running out. Contact your doctor or pharmacy when you are 3 days from running out to give ample time for refills. For non-emergency communications, use text messaging. email, or social media instead of making voice calls on your cell phone to avoid tying up voice networks. If you are having trouble getting updates, contact family and friends out of the area who may be able to access information virtually. Also, when local communications are unreliable post-storm, oftentimes it is easier to connect to out-of-area numbers.